Well, first of all, I want to thank the media for coming out today. And I know probably the big story of the day is going to be the snowfall. But given the holiday season, this is a very important issue for many New Yorkers and people across the country. Because people are going to be looking at what New York City does in this respect. The Department of Education currently has a policy during the winter holiday season to allow a menorah and a star and crescent, which represent specific faiths. But when it comes to Christians and Catholics, they allow a Christmas tree to be represented in the public schools. Now, for many of us, and I happen to be Catholic, a Christmas tree is not representative of the religious significance of the season. And I'm standing with a number of supporters behind me. I introduced a resolution this year in the City Council to get the Department of Education to amend its policy to include a nativity scene. Unfortunately, the legislation, despite support from New Yorkers, has not moved within the City Council, and the administration and the Department of Education have been totally silent on this issue. And I'm rather disappointed. This morning, by coincidence, I was supposed to have a meeting with Deputy Mayor Walcott, who oversees the Department of Education. And 2 days ago, I heard that the meeting was canceled. I was not given a reason why, and the meeting has not been rescheduled. This is an issue that is not going away. What we're asking for is simple inclusion. Since you allow some faiths to be represented in the public schools, you must allow all faiths to be represented. And the Department of Education cannot dictate to Christians and Catholics what truly represents the religious significance of the season. A Christmas tree actually has pagan background. It has nothing to do with the religious event. And in fact, I think we could all recognize the fact that it has more to do with the commercialization of the season than anything. So we're here today to say to the Department of Education and the administration, truly acknowledge the issue and let Christians and Catholics represent their faith during this season along with others. And I'm joined by a number of representatives here. And I'd like to introduce the Catholic League first, who's been a big supporter of this legislation and has really worked on this issue for a long, long time.
Thank you. We really appreciate the work of Councilman Avella. We're wondering why others haven't joined with them. We know that the bill is co-sponsored. We need a lot more people. I won't take up much of your time. Let me explain very quickly what's at stake here. In 2006, the Second Court of Appeals said that the federal district court was wrong to say that the menorah and the star and crescent were secular. They explicitly said that they were religious in nature. It did say, however, that the Department of Education's policy was constitutional because Christians were at least represented with the Christmas tree. Importantly, it also said, we do not decide whether or not a creche or a nativity scene could be displayed in the schools. So that's exactly our point. It's up now to the legislature, the Department of Education, to give parity to Catholics and Protestants. Right now, we have religious discrimination. Jews and Muslims have their religious symbols in the schools, and we're in favor of that. We'd also like inclusion with our group as well. I've written to every member of the City Council. I've written to Schools Chancellor Joel Klein. I get an answer back from Joel Klein's senior counsel, Michael Best. Michael Best simply tells me the obvious. That is to say that their policy was upheld by the Second Circuit. I asked him explicitly, since the Second Circuit said that you could put in a nativity scene, they weren't ruling that you couldn't. Would you simply answer that one question? Will you put the nativity scene in there along with the menorah and the star and crescent? He comes back and tells me the same thing again. Our policy is upheld. In other words, we're being stonewalled here, but we're not going away on this issue. We've been fighting it for years, and we'll continue to fight with this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce the Ancient Order of Hibernians.
I'm Martin Kelly, the National Director for this area for the Ancient Order of Hibernians. Without repeating what the councilman has said, and Mr. Donohue, I concur wholeheartedly that the nativity set should be displayed in the public schools, just like the Star and Crescent and the menorah. I'm sure if the menorah or the Star and Crescent was not in there, there'd be a lot more of a crowd at this press conference this morning. And I want to thank the councilman for a great job. Thank you.
Rabbi.
Good morning. My name is Rabbi Yehuda Levin, and the first question is, what's a nice rabbi like me doing at a press conference like this? I've got to admit, it would be a little hard for me to outright say, put another religious or another religion's ritual items in the public square. However, what's even more difficult to me is to stand by quietly and see the de-Christianizing of America. This is just part of a much larger pattern of mocking the Christian religion, the Christian clergy in Hollywood, and literally making naked the public square. I feel ill at ease as a Jew where somehow we forget that the heritage of this country, this is literally almost a de facto Christian nation. The heritage of this country was clearly Christian founders who have extended a hand throughout our history to the Jewish community, have saved Jewish lives, have stood for the values of Judaism and defended our right to be heard. And therefore my message today to Mayor Bloomberg in particular, Jew to Jew, Mr. Mayor, either we're going to show respect for all the major religions in the public square or take it out. Take out the menorah today, because I don't want this holiday season to be one where there is ill will generated by a very, very poorly thought out policy that puts one religion over the other. So either we're going to respect equally and even give special recognition, frankly, to the major religion in this country, or thank you but no thank you. We don't want the menorah, many of us, in the public square if it's going to outrage, antagonize, and create ill will. We're waiting for the mayor to act quickly and effectively so that New York can send a message: we still respect religion here, including and especially Christianity. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. He makes a very important point. The mayor could immediately rectify this situation by taking action. The mayor oversees all the city agencies, and the Department of Education is just one more agency. It's time to do the right thing. All we're saying is, let us have all faiths represented. Let us teach our children what it means, the religious significance of every faith in this country, and not just single out a couple and not have one particular religion represented. Questions from the media? Don't all jump up at once.